people of the internet. 8-Bit Jeff here. I'm here to show you my Atari 4160 STE. So this is an Atari 520 STE. It's been upgraded with 4 megs of RAM in the SIM slots, and it has the original badge. It came with it when I purchased it. They probably either reproed this or got it from new old stock, which is the 4160 badge that Atari actually produced, thinking they were going to make this machine, and they didn't. So what's special about the Atari 4160 STE? 4 megs of RAM, includes hardware scrolling that was lacking in the original Atari ST. It includes an extended color palette, basically matching the Amiga's color palette. Stereo sound, so it has stereo sampled sound along with the original Atari chip, so you can mix the two. So now you can have sound effects and samples. So in some cases it could probably, done right, it could probably sound slightly better than an Amiga. It can play mod tunes with the sound chip, the DMA chip, so you don't just have to rely on mod tunes playing in menus. You could probably code it right. You could get it to, so you could play mod tunes actually with the DMA channels. Also, have not tried it. Something we're going to try in the future. What else is great about this machine? Whoops, not good. This Atari STE, besides also having gen lock, so you could lock the screen to do video editing, it includes the 2 MIDI ports on the side along with 2 Jaguar style game ports. So what does that mean? There's some games, one we're gonna test specifically, that use the Jag pad. So you get 2 buttons, and you can actually program to the Jag pad also. Not enough people have them, but I have 3. Well, I have 2, a Jag pad with my Jaguar, and then I have 2 aftermarket Jag pads that I got. This machine, while I have modernized it pretty much. I've not done any, I'm not good enough with a soldering gun to actually modernize it myself. I purchase it modernized, but there's a few things I can do. Normally I will replace the disk drives with, and I did this on my 1040 ST with a Gotek. This has the original disk drive. Why? Because I have a hard drive replacement I'm going to show to use with this, but this is the only machine I have with a working disk drive. So games that won't work off of the hard drive on the ST sometimes will work off a disk, and you can just put them on a disk and drop them in the disk drive. My Atari ST FM, the 1040, has the Gotek in it, and that will be demonstrated later to show how to play lots of different games, but not on a hard drive. Interesting thing about this machine, it has stereo output built in, and that helps a lot because it allows us to, it allows us to plug in to it. That's my dog. It allows us to plug into a modern soundbar, which we're going to do. So, was this machine an Amiga killer? No. This machine is pretty much, if this had sold very well, people who coded on the Amiga could have coded a much better port on the ST than normally they would when they're porting back. You would have had Turrican with all of the hardware scrolling and the music. You would have had a much better version of Shadow of the Beast. Maybe not exactly Amiga, but it would have looked 10 times better. But not enough people did that. So we're going to demonstrate some software that does do that, and in the future we're going to be coding some games in STOS and maybe other languages to try and take advantage of some of those things. You know, STOS isn't going to be the greatest platform, but you definitely can take advantage of it. We're going to play some games. We're going to do a lot of stuff on the STE in the future. So let's just demonstrate how I've modernized this slightly, and these are all common upgrades that anybody can do. I have the joystick extender that everybody should have. You should have a joystick extender. That way you don't have to pull things in and out of these terribly placed joystick ports and mouse ports on the Atari ST. What else do I have? Okay, so I have my Arcade R joystick. This is not the Jag pad one, obviously. I do use this for most games. Games that use the Jag pad normally cannot use a regular joystick, and vice versa. So you have to have both. What else do I have down here? Oh, interesting. This is, I'm trying to remember if this is Tom or Jerry, what the name of this is, but this device allows me to plug a PS2 mouse directly into the Atari ST's mouse port. There are versions of this that do USB mice and things. This one has been very reliable for me, and I like this HP mouse. Doesn't draw any power. Maybe it doesn't not it maybe draws a little bit of power. Anyway, it works great for the Atari ST. Oh, this machine also, I forgot to mention, has a blitter built in, similar to the Amiga's blitter for moving chunks of graphics around memory, or just chunks of memory around, but graphics specifically. Normally, applications that use GEM, specifically word processors and things that use the GEM interface, can get a boost out of the blitter right away without any problem. And there are some GEM games that do that too. We may explore that at some point. But software usually had to be written to take advantage of it. So this machine will not automatically speed up regular ST software. There is a machine that will. That's the Mega STE, when you just flip it to run in 16 megahertz. It will run many of the games faster, trying to get it to that 50 frames a second. Looks great. Some games, if they weren't timed to the vertical blank, will not speed up that way. They'll be weird, and music sometimes is weird too. Anyway, we're not talking about the Mega STE, and I don't have one. I wish I had one. Let's move on. How do we power this thing up? Well, this is a UK machine. I have not replaced the power supply, so we need a step-up converter from our American Diet Coke, from our American 110 power supplies to the 220 step up that is needed for a UK machine. And then we also have, I know I'm fighting with these cords, we also have a Satan disc. Ultra Satan actually can have 2 SD cards in it. Each one of these is, this SD card is, I think it's 4 gigs, and it's been partitioned into 8 drives. And I have a lot of STE and hard drive compatible games made by 8-Bit Chip or Peter Pereira, or some people call these PP. I don't really like PP because it sounds like urine, and then Amiga fans get to say that Atari games are P. That's fine. Many Atari games were P, ST games, but there's a lot of good ones too. Don't get me wrong. I love my Atari ST. One other thing that we've done with this is, because we have stereo out, I have a modern sound bar, and the stereo out from this can go, from the STE, can go directly to this modern sound bar. This is a funny one because it puts a lot of colors on the screen. It emits colors. It's the cheapest one I could get that sounds pretty good, just to test this out. Turns out it works, so eventually in the future I might get a better one than that. The sound bar has a remote control. Haven't really been able to get this to work. Let's see. Doesn't matter, don't need it. And then one last thing you need to get your Atari ST running in sort of a modern context is a monitor. This is a Dell monitor that I purchased for about $125 off Amazon. It came broken, but I was able to fix it. It works because we have the ST2 VGA. Let me put this down so I can explain this. This Dell monitor is a multi-sync, and it does 15 hertz, which is the CGA standard that Atari STs need to show their low and medium resolution graphics. This ST to VGA just plugs right into the DIN port, and you have a VGA port out. It's a fantastic little device. Now let's get this whole thing set up, and I'll find a jag pad, and we're going to plug it all in, and we're going to test out some Atari STE specific games. The first one uses the jag pad. All right, we are back at my ST setup. This is the 1040, well now 4160 STE, running Satan disk, or running Ultra Satan. I have a disk in here that I'll test in the future, which is Metro Cross, just a plain ST game. For now, we are going to run ROx Zero, which is a pretty difficult vertical scroller. It's a demo crew game, relatively new, within the last 10 years. And ROx Zero is a game that needs to run off a disk. But I don't have a disk of it. So something you can do with this is created by 8-Bit Chip is a disk runner, so an MSA runner or a .st runner for your desktop computer that does not have that, even if you're not running a disk drive. But here's the disk image, roxzero.msa. What we do is we go to install application. We want it to run this in TOS, not GEM. TOS is the operating system. This is GEM, the front end. And then we say, I want .msa images to run with the image runner 1.62, which is the version of TOS I have. So then all you need to do is double click and the game will load up. Here is the Jag pad. This is actually a real Jaguar controller. I couldn't find my grayed out Jag pads. And it uses this to control. Let's see if we get a little more sound here. This game's not easy at all. I'm terrible at this game. We'll try one more time. Then we'll show some other Atari STE games that make use of the Atari STE. This one's just really hard. I don't think this is the best STE game ever made, but it uses a Jag pad, and that was something I wanted to demo. It's just bullet hell. I don't like bullet hell games either. We'll try one more time. Pick up on it. Slow down there, here and there, but you have a shield beam. Let's see. I get picking up power, shield, and then nukes. I've got too many nukes. I need nukes. Oh, there's one. Reuse my nuke, I guess. I died. Still, I'm not great at games like that. Good game, though. Let's reboot the STE, and let's try another Atari STE game from my hard drive. Let's try something else that's been updated for the Atari ST. We have a version of Outrun. I know it's been going around the internet a little bit. Let's see, do I have Outrun on here? I do not have Outrun on here. I have Obsession Pinball. Menace, that's been modified to just use to use a different color. Let's go to Let's read this. You want to play when we get 4 megs. You want to use the 4 meg version. That's why. So start.toss. I don't want unlimited health. Let's just play it. Oh, looking weird again. Works though. What am I firing with? You know, it's not that. It's better than I ever could have expected on an Atari ST. It's a pretty good version. It's not smooth, but you know, smooth enough. I think Dread moves better than this. We'll try Dread at some point on this machine too. Secrets! Ah, we got a better gun. There we go. I like secrets. Darn it. It's not as smooth. It's probably as smooth as a 286 SX running this way. Doesn't look there's a lot of improvements for the STE except for just using the 4 megs. There. So that's Wolfenstein. I will try Dread at some point to see how much better it is. I like that. That was done. I never would have thought that would have been able to be done on an ST. Let's try one more Atari STE game and then we'll call it a day. So, what else we got on here? Chaos Engine, pretty good. Asteroidia, pretty good. Alien Blast, you know, these are all pretty good games. Let's try... I like Pac-Man. I know this isn't... this Pac-Man isn't a game that blows people away. But this is a great version of Pac-Man that was created for the Atari STE called Pac-Man on Ease. Let's play that. And I will use the regular joystick here. L for unlimited lives. Yeah, we'll do that this time. We're not going to play unlimited lives, but we'll do the Arcade R joystick. This is our joystick we're using now. Let's just go for it.
Let's go!
a great version of Pac-Man at least. Doesn't scroll, but you don't have to. I like the speed boost I got from getting the power up. Oh! Game seems a little slower that way. Let's finish out the level. Level 2! Pac-Man on ease. Oh, cool. Let's try this. Oops, the slowdown difference between having a power pellet and not is really big in this game. I guess not. Give me. Oh, you're dead. And whoop. Let's try out the third level. Ooh, cool. Yeah, probably the best Pac-Man game that's single screen that I've played, especially on the ST. This is the best version. I mean, there's other good versions, but this is probably the best one. And he's in STE, of course. I don't think the speed of animation things does not require an STE, but the sound does really. So they could be using the glitter to do some of these graphics. I have unlimited lives, so my game will never end. And ta-da! All right. Well, that is my Atari. Let her turn this off. So we'll leave it up for a second. We'll just turn it down a little bit. Oops. That is my Atari STE demonstrating a few games. It's nice enough. No, it's not an Amiga, but it's still pretty frickin' awesome. Until next time, into the vertical blank. Into the vertical blank.
An 8-Bit Rocket Studios production.